are going to be listening to some of the key players of the Ambazonian struggle, the Southern Cameroon struggle. We are going to be listening to them speak. We've had a collection of videos. It is jam-packed with tons of information, very, very educative information. But yet, in the process of us listening, we are going to be analyzing and giving perspective so that you can be able to deduce out of this information what you think is the way forward for English-speaking Cameroonian. So let's take a listen.
Always fight for bring peace. I don't say we don't make mistake for carry gun against our country where you not find. Now our brother the way they abroad. Now they push we so say more carry gun, but they carry their own family go put abroad. They push different people their own family, may they go to die for nothing. So we want carry gun so when our brother they brainwash we say una carry gun so go do so. After 3 months they will divide country. Now how many years? No nothing. Una want divide the country now for Facebook or now for outside. I don't know. All day my trip to Boya. When you die, me say you don't reach Boya.
Okay, so this guy actually surrendered himself to the DDR center, saying, "I'm done with this." If you listen to him closely, you realize that he said, it is our brothers in the diaspora that misled us. They told us that we are going to fight for 3 months. And after 3 months, we are going to conquer the entire English-speaking Cameroon, and then we will declare independence. Now it's over 7 years. We have not had that. So he's saying, I'm sorry. I've repented. I'm not going to kill anyone anymore. This time, I want to cooperate with the military to make sure that some of my brothers who are still in the bush fighting should surrender their arms and be able to get rehabilitation. That is very, very important. So what do you realize in this whole situation? Just listening to me speak or listening to that video. You realize I talked about the barbarians to bureaucrats, the idea of cannibalism, the stage where you realize that soldiers are fighting against soldiers is cannibalism, and people who they are actually trying to protect are running to other countries, running to French Cameroon, running to Douala, to Yaoundé. And so this is destabilizing the entire English-speaking Cameroon. The economy is destabilized. There are some certain things that are going on here that I want you to be able to identify for yourself. But truth be told, if you look at what is going on right now, there is blame everywhere. No one is taking responsibility. I don't blame him. I understand where he's coming from. If you've been through that much pain and you happen to get relief, the first thing is to say, nah, it was not my fault. I was going through this because I was being persuaded that I'm on the right track. So as we go further, we're going to hear more stuff. But let's just keep watching. So you've heard it, that's Shina Rambo. So right now, the struggle started 7 years ago. We believed that we're going to get independence in 3 months. Now it's 7 years. We are still fighting. People are dying. People are losing their lives. His brother is gone. He doesn't know where the sister and the mother is. That is the situation of these people on ground. We're not going to pick sides, but you are going to decide for yourself what you think should be the way forward based on this analysis. One thing that will happen over the course of this analysis is that we are not going to pick sides. If it's the military that is wrong, we're going to say they are wrong. If it's the Amber that is wrong and the entire leaders that are behind this movement, we're going to say that is wrong. Because the goal is not to find out who is right or wrong. The goal is, how do the people achieve what they were demanding? How do the people achieve their freedom? How do we alleviate the entire English-speaking part of Cameroon from poverty, from lack, from joblessness, from marginalization, from assimilation? How do we liberate the people? That is why we do what we do here. So let's keep watching.
Reason why now because of say I see some of these shit no white blacks and for diaspora call themselves Amazonian terrorists them. Some of them they see make an audio, make noise, like say they fit control ground zero. No no get no leave it for ground zero anymore. No no fit control ground zero. It is just the truth and the reality. So press your share button. This very Chris Andrew way they make noise, send an audio outside. This very Chris Andrew open him up talk say wait, ground zero need the listing for them anymore. It is just the truth and the reality. Chris Anu no get no one picking on ground. Talk as I talk. Except say if you go buy some one or two, bribe them, doesn't mean they make video call in name. But you no get no person on ground and you no fit ever, no man for diaspora, no fit control ground zero. Ground zero do wait till they think say better for them and wait to look and say be nice for them. So that is just the truth and the reality. Now, wait to make me for pass this message for the people them for Kumba, mostly Okada people. As here Chris Anu make noise say wait. Make Okada no work for Monday. Make people no open store for Monday. When they lock their store, the authority they can open that store. They go make the authority open the store. I no one go far. I want ask Chris Anu say, Fosa Imami day. Fosa his sister day. Fosa his brother Oliver Lekiaka because they film Mashawe they act film for Lebi Alem. Oliver Lekiaka. Fosa he day. His small sister Bessa Berry, he day for Kondenge. Because they be catchy with hundreds of millions of francs where his brother so-called Oliver Lekiaka be kidnap people, the people there for inside Lebi Alem, people there for inside Lebi Alem, take money for them, send them for his sister, and he the Christian the teach someone for Europe, send them for his sister, and his sister they carry that money for come Yaoundé, and they take end for which where Oliver Lekiaka don't take a go send some for that brother. The minute the security forces them, they catch him. The security forces them, they catch him. For Saturday today, he dey for prison. For Saturday Oliver, a human, they that small girl, take and make video with her for corner. He dey Kondenge. Why you think say you wait to watch me today with them for Kumba? You feel say if Chris Anu no fit rescue your own small sister, now you Okada man, where you don't even know whether you exist, you don't even know your name, you don't even care about you. Now we can't help you. Tell Chris Anu, say before I move your Okada for play to go keep him. May he go move his sister and his mommy for prison first. May go move his brother and woman for prison first before he can talk about you. And no one go far. Fosa Ayokta Besi Sekode, Tasan Wilfred, Mancho BBC, Cho Terrence, and the likes. So then they who don't rescue them. The day hundreds of them for inside prison today. They lament, they suffer for day. Now they see the video they provide for every day. But then they can go for Kake. For Kakeye. For say day today, the 2018 we get friend when come up by men that for go take you go kill yourself. Come back for say day prisoner. Why you never really see? When have you show me one single pikin where don't go prison diaspora we rescue it. And no one go far. The one that they die on daily basis, their woman they suffer, their pikin they suffer. Who don't think about them? But I want to tell you as a storekeeper, I want to tell you as Okada man, I want to tell you as a taxi driver. Listen, my brother and sisters. We all love Una so much. And high time those will say no to ghost town inside Kumba. If you not open your store, when the government, the authority, the mayor, the SDO sign a decree stamp, say, make any man open store for Monday. If you not open your store, they seal your store. My dear brother, now you go suffer. You dey fear now. We don't take some of it till they say ghost town. We don't take Camble. We don't take this nonsense for our advantage. You take and talk rubbish. Take and make money. We will say no to it. Time don't reach for do the right thing. If you not open your store, they lock your store, my brother, my sister, now you go face the difficulties. Nobody no can get a picking chop. Nobody no can get a family chop. You the first fear now. Even I was I would tell me say
That young man is Clovis. And if you know, he has been one of the faces of the DDR movement. He was talking about many other individuals involved in the struggle, and Chris Anu is the person he highlighted, saying that Chris Anu has lost relatives, or some of them have been locked up as a result of this whole struggle. Brothers and sisters, I don't want us to lose track of why we started initially. which is where we are right now. We started this whole struggle with the lawyers and the teachers, and the whole goal was the marginalization. The whole goal was the fight for assimilation. We didn't want that. But somewhere along the lines, there are people with other ideologies that I sympathize with them. I understand where they are coming from and why they are reacting the way they do, of which we're going to get there very soon. But the reality is, you have very limited time in this world. And making the best use of that time is very, very important, rather than trying to do things that you don't really think properly about, and it turns out to hurt you. It turns out to hurt the intention of which you started initially. Because this is one thing that I know. If I set a goal that this is what I want to achieve, I should be able to communicate that from the onset and let people know this is what I'm going for. And regardless, this is what I want. I want this problem to be solved. I want the teachers and the lawyers to gain their freedom in their classrooms and in the court. And we stay there for a little bit and make sure that problem is solved. And when we start escalating the problems to federalism, escalating the problems to independence and Ambazonia, then now some of us that have been looking at this problem, analyzing it logically, critically, we are realizing that there is kind of we've lost track. With what is the goal? Again, at the end of the day, the goal is that we end up giving you strategic solutions, because that is my job. I'm a strategic analyst. I will strategically analyze a situation and propose. I'm not imposing, I'm proposing a direction through which I know that if we go based on my analysis, looking at what is happening around the world, because finding solutions to a problem is so simple, because we live in a world today that there is countless information out here, and all you have to do is ask yourself the question, what works? What works? And you just plug it in and you have an amazing life. You see what I'm saying? So this is a leader, an amazing dude from what I've heard. Chris Anu is an amazing man. He really has heart for the struggle. He really wants his people to be free. That is his intention at heart. He never came into this because, I don't think he came into this struggle because of money. I don't think he came into this struggle because he wanted to move some money from Europe to his brothers or sisters. He came into this struggle because he saw the plight of the people. He saw the struggle of these people, and he actually grew up within that same community. And he has this shared struggle with those people. And he feels like, if I am able to stand up and say something and do something, that change might come. His strategy might not be the best, but I understand that his intentions are pure. But at the end of the day, the truth is that people don't judge you based on your intentions. They judge you based on the results. So this is where he finds himself. It's still the Ambazonian struggle. Let's keep watching.
What good have they done in the recent years that will make Anglophones to believe that they are fighting a cause for them? If not, when you go to the West region to kill, you do not have any detector to detect that I'm killing a Francophone or I'm killing an Anglophone. They killed at random. They didn't go to specific houses to kill. When they burned the shops, they were not looking. They didn't know whether they were burning a shop of an Anglophone or a Francophone. The foolishness that they have is that they don't know that even in Bamanyam, we have Anglophones and Francophones. So if in their minds, foolish the way they are, they think that they are attacking the Francophone, it is still foolishness. Let them even know that more Anglophones are up in the West, more than they are even now in Bermuda, because many people have run from Bermuda to the West. And when you come and kill randomly, what are you doing? You are shooting yourself on the foot because you are killing your own brothers and sisters. And this is what we are looking at. And now, we are not seeing them actually taking a fight with who they call the military. They hear that the military is here. These guys are in control. Immediately they hear the military is here, they run faster than even the civilians into the bushes. Once the military has gone, they come back and start talking about black legs and all of those, and flexing muscles with the poor civilians. So what have they done to show proof of the fact that they are really standing for the Anglophone? Secondly, they block the economic growth. They block routes. They impose ghost towns, but expect the very Anglophones to contribute for their fight, whatever they are fighting for. So you have seen that their ideology, they themselves have realized that their liberation ideology was ephemeral rather than perennial, and it has failed on arrival, and that is why they are just confused. Okay. Somebody said the other day, I will land here, Mr. Leo, that these guys, those who are remaining in the bushes, are those who went and signed pacts with the devil. I don't know, maybe the Reverend here may enlighten us about signing pact with the devil. And then that pact, one of the conditions of the pact is to spill blood. And that is why they have the condition to spill the blood. No matter which blood they are spilling, they just want to spill it. They don't even have the reason why they are killing. The main reason they are killing is to satisfy the pact that they have signed with the devil.
Okay. So that is an analyst in Cameroon presenting his perspective on the whole situation on a prominent television network in Cameroon. It is quite interesting how you hear other people's perspective on the situation, because what it kind of do is like, oh, maybe some of us are locked up in one channel, right? That is what might be happening. Maybe you're locked up in this one channel, like I listen only to the people in the diaspora who are giving orders, right? And I don't listen to anyone else out there and what they are saying. And now what we are hearing is we will hear from someone that is not part of your echo chamber. That is, they are not part of your group, and they are not part of the people that are inspiring you, because the whole goal of this video is to help you hear from both parties, different players within the same struggle. And one thing that I've heard that they have in common is the passion to liberate the Northwest and the Southwest. The passion to ensure that we do the right thing to make sure that our people are actually free and have financial freedom. That is one thing I hear in common. But if you listen to this video, Kinley, I don't think that the Ambazonian boys from inception had the idea to just inflict pain on their people. You will realize that in the very beginning of this struggle, this was not the story. This was not what we were hearing. But somewhere along the line, you realize that this started happening. And you might be wondering and asking the question, but why? I am going to disclose that as we move along. But you will understand that right now, the struggle has a kind of a look that people don't even think like this struggle is really for the liberation of the English-speaking Cameroonians, because they feel like this is like a money-making scheme. People are extorting money from the locals. A lot is going on. People are being killed. People are being forced to pay taxes. There's a lot going on. People will be stopped at their funerals and they will tell them, if you don't give this ransom, you cannot bury your relatives. There is a lot going on. And I do understand. And please hear me, because we are going somewhere with this. All these grievances are valid. Yes, they are valid. What he just said is valid. What the young man Clovis just said is valid. And subsequently, what we will hear from some of the Ambazonian leader is actually valid as well. And we are going to put all of this and ask ourselves the question, what is the way forward? And again, I just want to let our people know, as we keep watching, that we are going somewhere. We are about to carve a path in Cameroon that the entire Africa is going to look at us as the model for transformation. And I want to repeat that again. I said, we are about to carve a path in Africa that the entire continent of Africa will look at it as a path, as a model, as a template to follow. Let's keep watching.
You. If I don't read it, many messages are coming. Good evening, legal minds. Please, the situation in our country is at a point of killing to destroy and have money. Sir, there are no fights. A friend just came back from captivity. And what he said was that the guys told him, after serious torture, that their soul belongs to the devil when they die. Muma is writing from Bamenda. Yeah.
Wow. So I think I love this, the way we put this together, because you get to hear even the perspective of the people on ground. And we're getting this ideology of like people selling their soul to the devil to kill. I understand. I understand why you say that. Because if you can walk into a room and shoot a pregnant woman, anyone with a rational mind should obviously think that you've sold your soul to the devil. If you walk into a room and people refuse to pay taxes, you bring them out and you kill them, it should raise concern. People should wonder, what are you doing? Are you actually for us or against us? These are very, very essential questions that people are asking. And you'll be asking yourself, well, what's going on? Maybe this whole thing was a game from the beginning. Maybe these people never had us at heart. Why? Because maybe their children and their wives are in the diaspora and they don't care about us. They just set us up to die. That is what you might be thinking. You are valid for saying that if that is your perspective on the way things are going right now. But the whole goal of this message is to come together and say, I hear you. I see you. I understand your grievances. If I were you, I would say the same thing. I would think the same way. But now I want you watching to be that individual that step out of this box and look at these people's position and perspective on everything that is going on and say, how can you reconcile this situation? How can you bring all these people together? Because none of them show up and said they just wanted to do something evil. They showed up with that concern, that heart, that passion, that patriotism that they want to be able to make change. So how do we move forward? Which is the most important reason why we are doing this video. Let's keep watching.
Every sincere person who thought that he or she was fighting for an Anglophone cause has given up. That's why I still saying that people are still questioning the ramifications of the Grand National Dialogue. In my own commission, which I was, no single child that we pulled out of the bushes has been killed by the military because we had those guarantees from a man of God. Thus, the responsibility of this men of God and what they are saying is right. Let them rally and say, we are men of God. We are going to see Mr. Bia. Let us facilitate us the Anglophone General Conference. Call the college of the Anglophone General Conference if you are actually a Christian and you believe in the Christian doctrine, which I don't believe in. But everybody has his place in this society. That is where we are coming from. Thank you.
That is an interesting take. Like I said, I'll bring other people and their perspective within the struggle as to where we find ourselves right now. It is very important to note that what we are going through, we are not the first, which is good news. There are other nations and countries that have gone through similar experiences in the past. And the good news is I have gone into research and look at these nations to understand what they did at this stage of their development. That is good news for us. That's why I'm saying this video, I mean, it's an eye opener. It's going to help you like, oh, wow, is it that easy? Yes, it is for us to come out of this shenanigan. Let me use my African like vocabulary to let you know this shenanigan. We're going to get out of this and be able to forge a path forward together because we have perspective. But most importantly, because some nation in the past has gone through this and they handled it in a way that they were able to come out successful. And so we can model that and be able to get the same results. Does that make sense? I'm a big proponent of looking at what works. It is the easiest way to success. Looking at what works and then you model it, get the same result, and then you can start thinking and advancing your own knowledge on that idea moving forward. But it is easy to start by looking at what works. You plug it in, it works for you, and then you're like, oh, how can I make it better? And then you start moving forward. Does that make sense? So right here, he has raised a very serious concern. I don't underestimate the role that pastors play in a community, that Christians play in a community. Christianity has been part of our civilization and has played a crucial role in development, has played a crucial role in bringing about peace, in bringing about reconciliation, And we cannot undermine the role that God plays in our society. And so what he just highlights, I am not a Christian, but I know and identify what these pastors are doing within our community, and is very, very essential for unification. It's very, very essential for reconciliation. And so on that note, I would like us to keep watching. Again, I want you to keep watching this video, but don't have anybody on your mind like you're blaming somebody. Just have that mind like, I've never understood what is going on in Cameroon so far. And I just want to watch from that neutral mind and be able to derive and extract knowledge and be able to form my own conclusions. Does that make sense? Let's keep watching.
An offering. Very good. The purpose of the church, is not to generate monies. The moral standard of the church has dropped because us ministers we've embarked into monetary issue than the spiritual aspect of the sheep, which is supposed to be taken care of. Now, if you look at what is happening today in the church, I know a good number of them are listening to me right now. I am saying that the church has failed. We have failed. I wouldn't mix it up. You made mention of Bamenda. I remember when this issue started, I wrote the first track. The Trinity voice of peace and hope. Don't say had I known. Escape and be safe, for hell is real. I wrote that track 9,000 and got them printed and I distributed because I smelled a dead rat. And the second track I wrote, when God takes over, what happens? And I said, this nation, what is happening in this nation of Cameroon, we have to go back to God. The problem in this nation of Cameroon, it's in the hands of God. Many a times ministers will organize prayer meeting and we start hammering, pray for this politician should die, this politician should die, this one should. That is not the purpose of the church. That is not the purpose. I must say some of this serious truth here because we are failed in our responsibility. Now you made mention of love. You made mention of love. We have to love our enemies. I remember when I anchored a program on radio, and I said, people have been throwing stones on the Rosicrucians in this nation, the Freemasons in this nation. And many will pray that let them die. I said, no, God did not come for the righteous. He did not come for the pure. He did not come for the holy. He did not come for the perfect. He came for the lost. And it is our responsibility, no matter how much involvement a politician in this nation has gone astray, is entangled in occultism, our responsibility is to pray for them, to love them. If we are taking this as a responsibility, the situation in which we find ourselves in this country will not have happened. We have failed in our responsibility because most of the time we get into blame game. Blame and counter blame. This is a problem. I remember when His Excellency.
Wow, that is a very interesting take that pastor just presented, and you will see the aspect of him emphasizing on love even in the midst of a problem like the one we find ourselves in, and avoiding to blame someone for the cause of the problem. And this is the thing, and I agree with him 100%. And what I do think is we need more love and unity among us. We need more love and unity among us. I think we are going to have kind of a program where we just celebrate the best among us. We just celebrate the best among us and love ourselves. And I agree with him. It's like we are lacking with that, right? I mean, if you're watching this video, what do you think? I don't think we support each other enough to say this brother, this sister is doing good in this particular department or in this particular craft, and let's encourage them, let's love them. Our brother is doing good in politics, our sister is doing good in business. How do we appreciate them? And I think that aspect is missing in the English-speaking Cameroon. But this is good news because all of these things are happening right now. The Bible says all things work together for the good of they that trust the Lord and are called according to his purpose. So that is a fact that like everything works for good. You see this thing we're going through right now, it will turn around for our good. You see the situation that we find ourselves in is a wake-up call and it's going to work for our good. Everything. I know we've lost a lot. I know we've lost properties. I know we've lost people. We've lost money. We've lost time. everything is going to work together for our good. So let's keep watching.
Are we waiting to end these killings, Padia Sanga, if I may ask, because we wailed when it happened in Mamfe. Today we are getting the situation in Birmingham. We don't know where it's going to happen. Who are we waiting for?
Listen, Mr. Liu, we are waiting for ourselves to solve this problem. You cannot expect anything from Mr. Biya's government at this point in time. 7 years down the drain, Mr. Biya and some of his ministers were part of a commission put in place by Ahijo to study and bring up solutions to the Anglophone problem. But there are two different issues now at stake. Anglophones have a genuine cause, which was that one of assimilation that has been blocked. Now, we have insecurity, armed bandits who have diluted a problem that Anglophones should be fighting for, but Anglophones now are fighting for peace. Thus, the role of the men of God who are talking peace here.
Wow. So he just highlighted that same issue, and I'm happy because other people are watching, and so I think there are other critical minds within our country, which is good. Like the initial problem was that of assimilation. That was the initial struggle. And so he's pointing out the fact that we've moved from that cause, we've moved from that goal, and now we are into independence. And I understand why. But the reason for everything that is going on right now is for us to be able to look at it, step back and ask ourselves the question, what was the initial cause? What was the initial goal? What were we fighting for? What was our grievances from inception? That is very, very empirical. It is very, very important. It is very, very crucial as we move forward. And so as you listen to him speak, you will hear what he's saying, like we are somewhere else right now. And Cameroonians, English-speaking Cameroonians are actually crying now for peace. They had peace initially, and they wanted something else. Now they want peace. And so it is important to note the progressive changes that have happened through our discourse. So let's keep watching.
Yes. First, that will be common way. Me and Alpha, them will compare or other people, they will not get problem. They follow me with Palava God. We fight. Now they want kill me and run. That will run should not be that down.
Can I just interject?
Yes.
You see how that story is this similar to Shinarambo?
Yes. If you follow me to Nabo matter. That will run now, I cash down with that down. I go and go Nigeria, but I don't get enough budget for my skill. After I get some money, I thought I want to go Nigeria. As I say, but if I don't go Nigeria, I will always come back now. Or I will go live my life now. Then the next minute, I stay in Savament. I stay Savament and stay. I check and say, but man, I start waiting now. I know they free. I don't do anything. Better some man go prison because for the very place, if the military surprise me, they will kill me. If Amber surprise me, they will kill me. So I will surrender the judicial police before the general. I got Robinson can take me before they take me go for it. I go for police. I go for police. We go surrender and myself send me the same for prison. But that one I go for police. I will come in a prison. Yes, I want prison. May be the safest place to be that time.
Can you imagine?
The safest idea will come from my head because for that very position, this one will float and float. I know we get. So I will go in a prison. Time I can surrender with judicial police now. Before I want to see the call this Pakum, we're sitting at deputy coordinator. The call Pakum, I want to see I enter DZR. I want to see they keep me one day at job. Second day, they don't love me, they don't do nothing, they don't touch on me. I did some military that CB them, I had the court. I know say tomorrow this will if you take me, go kill them. But I did this I want to say, they give me the Salomon card. Say go, I tell I want to take permission, they give me permission, go for town. I go for time, go come back. I want to say they give me some make take you work something worry you, show and say you've been an ex-combatant. That's why it's free. So now when I volunteer become life. Because I been with the center now, so I say the beginning will be in that. Because I never ever believe me with this that we know say the beginning day so the day that start that all my way with that push so enough no say that places so will be. Now when I become on for life, we can't talk for the other people guys them. Me and see the example. and they fit follow and copy and say the thing na true, e be legit.
You see,
Yes.
thank you so much for sharing that message. That message be very, very powerful. It be powerful because it explains the importance of what we do. Without what way you, me, Clovis, Beltus, and the rest they do, and Chutan and the rest.
So that's very interesting that we get to hear some of the stories, because some of the things that have been disturbing me is having to understand, just watching maybe someone from the diaspora elaborate these stories. It's one thing to hear from someone from the diaspora. It's another thing to hear from someone that actually experienced this whole struggle back home. And also the civilians in particular, and what they are going through. It's very important to just hear, like, don't you feel like what he went through? Like where he finds himself right now. And he said he was going to surrender himself to the police, like knowing I'm going to jail for everything that he has done. But he realized that he was able to find relief. I mean, when you listen to this, one thing I want you as a Cameroonian, English speaking Cameroonian, to carry in your heart is the fact that you guys are good people. When you hear this brother speak, this is someone that was out there killing people in the bush, terrorizing the community, but he had a just cause. One thing you realize looking at him or listening to him speak is that he had a good heart. And this is what I want us to see in each and every one of us, that we are amazing people. In spite of his shortcomings, in spite of their shortcomings, we are amazing people. We want the best for us. We want the best for ourselves. We want the best for our communities. I don't want us to lose track about that. Because if we do and lost hope, then we are going to keep fighting one another. We will keep destroying our own country, our own land, our northwest, our southwest. We will keep destroying ourselves if we don't set aside our differences. If we don't understand that we have a good heart. And just looking at this brother speak, I can feel that. And I'm sure you too can. Let's keep watching.
Fight. When a fight between Bambal and Kingdom, Goketuja versus Goketuja, Amber versus Amber.
Yes.
I have actually tell you, say, if we kill you gun and kill you Kingdom, for go fight them. For kill them.
The couple Daniel say, even buy this thing where they face this explosive with them.
Yes.
Even buy someone, give we.
Say no,
go make a bury all for road when that terrorist for Bambala one come. We press all them die. They will go take Bambala.
Wait, so that we will control Bambala.
Yeah. So now ATF will control Bambala.
You see
in next plan will be now for Bambasi. Now say we will talk all that one for one.
You hear that? A lot has happened. A lot has happened. We've heard about ADF, Ayabacho, Capo Daniel, Chris Anu. The names keep popping up. You hear all sorts of stories. And it's something to be very concerned about. Like, is this where we got to? Is this really where we find ourselves? Every Cameroonian, I'm asking us a question. Truth be told, no, you sit, you just relax and watch this. And I ask you the question, is this how low we are? I think we are bigger than this. Facts, we are bigger than this. And I just want to let us know, the diaspora, back home, intellectuals, people who have studied and understand what works around the world, how the world actually works. We are bigger than this. This is a challenge to every English-speaking Cameroonian. You guys are bigger than this. What is going on in our country? You have an English heritage. You have that in your veins. You have that in your rhetorics. You guys are bigger than this. Okay? Again, I want to repeat again, I'm not throwing stones at anyone. I understand what is going on. listening to this, I get it. But I just want to challenge us to understand that we are bigger than this. Let's
fought our own the most. Way back from the days of the jungle funchers and the days of the Juas and the days of the Estimunas, these guys have never worked in collaboration. They've hated themselves. Going to the religious cycle, I'm talking as a clergy, Anglophone ministers are the ones that will fight the other Anglophone minister from rising. They will hate you for growing. They will sabotage you and they will stigmatize your image. Make sure that you are dragged to the floor. They will amplify your errors and they will equally hide your good. They will magnify your mistakes and they will equally silence your good works. That is not coming from the devil or from hell, it's coming from our fellow brothers. The Anglophone crisis has proven beyond reasonable doubt that we do not love each other. It hasn't. First and foremost, you look at it, it's difficult for them to collaborate. They had a common goal, they had a dream, they had a worry. There was actually marginalization, there was actually discrimination. But you see, the Englishman says the strength of a broom is in its numbers. We are the most dispersed, divided people as far as this country is concerned. Look at the leadership given to the people who were supposed to man a delegation that was to fight against marginalization. The guys are divided, they are stigmatizing each other, satirizing each other, damaging each other. You realize that there is no way we can unite. This one is speaking against this one, they're speaking against one. Coming back to the unity, Agbogbala, who was the president of the consortium that started this whole stuff, I have not heard. I've seen people insult him, blackleg, demon, sell out, traitor, betrayer. Those are the adjectives that have been ascribed to a man who kicked off this whole thing we find ourselves today. I have sat down. I have seen people also call Cardinal Tumi as working with the government to convince Anglophones to throw away their dream. I've equally seen people reason and they say Sako is a demon. As a matter of fact, I've never seen any Francophone do a video to satirize Sako. I've never seen a Francophone do a video to satirize Ayabacho. I've never seen a Francophone do a video to abuse CDN. The videos I see on social media is either Eric Tato is telling others Sako is a thief, or Mark Barretta is telling others Ayabacho is a demon. Tell me the Anglophone, the Francophone, whom you have seen once do a video on television and trying to sabotage the image of the Anglophone forerunners in the crisis. Tell me. When we want to outline truths so that we can pick up from the broken pieces and be able to put ourselves together and forge ahead, people think we are here to make mockery of something that we have stood our grounds and communicated. When you give analysis based on what happened, not what is happening, you're not an analyst. We give you analysis based on what is on ground. This revolution or whatever is happening is not the very first. People reach a certain level, make up their minds. We are not the first to fight against a state. Nigerians started in 1967. At a certain level, they reasoned themselves and calmed down and decided to surrender. That was their own. Bougainville fought at a certain level also. They had division. At a certain level.
Let me say, whatever we are experiencing right now, I agree with the apostle. It is a wake-up call. And this is the reality, guys. We have to accept that we are really divided. And this is where I've been going to with this conversation, to let us understand that the root cause of our problem is division. The root cause of our problem is not being able to come together as one. That has been the root cause of our development. It has been the root cause of our demise, poverty, stagnation. We are divided. We have to accept this. And let me explain. Guys, if you look at Northwest and Southwest, you realize that Southwest has a decentralized system. Like there's Boya, there's Limbe, there's Kumba, there's all those places that you know about in the Southwest. They are a city on their own. But if you come to Northwest, all you hear about is Bamenda. And you ask yourself, what is happening with all of these subdivisions? What is happening with Bui? What is happening with Donga Mantum? What is happening with Kumbo? What is happening with Meme? And you begin to ask all these questions. Why don't we have cities in all these areas? Because why? We have villages that are barricades. They are blockade. That is, if people want to come in to buy a land, a villager will either sell that land too high, or they will speak their native tongue, just say things in your presence that you feel like you should just run away. I mean, our villages, our tribes are one of the primary cause of where we find ourselves today. I lived in the Southwest. I don't even know where the village Bakweri really is, living in the Southwest. Just because of how inclusive the people are, how they accept everybody. In the Northwest, that is not the case. Tribalism is one of the biggest hindrance. That is one of the biggest enemies of the people of the Northwest. Even if we have oil from Southwest and we have all of these resources to develop our place, it will not happen. Look at the leaders, for instance. Look at the division among the leaders. This is a predominant problem that is affecting Northwest. There is a lot of division. And this is what I think. We will have to devise a solution to understand that this is the problem and deal with it for what it is. And again, I just want to take us a little bit a memory lane, because what I said is initially is if you look at what works and you put that to work, it will work for you. If you copy what works from other nations, what they've done in the past to handle the same problem that we are experiencing, and we apply the same solution, we will get the same results if we don't give up. Are you guys listening? Are you hearing the words that are coming out of my mouth? Now, if you go back to France, in the years 1789, France was as divided as us. Because one of the things us Africans have told ourselves, or Cameroonians have told ourselves, is our culture is our pride. And the West doesn't like that. And so they're trying really hard to deprive us or destroy our culture. But I want to say our culture, what we call our culture or tradition, is our biggest hindrance. Is the biggest hindrance to our development. Our traditions, our tribes, and our culture. Let me explain that. Not everything about the culture is entirely bad, but let me break it down for you so you understand. Guys, when all of this was going on in France in the year 1789, they realized that something was stopping them from being united to achieve economic freedom. To be able to fight an enemy that is trying or attempting to intrude France. And they ask numerous questions as to why they find it hard to unite. And Napoleon realized at the time that is because they have all these tribes within France, having all of this multitude of languages within France. And what they had to do was dissolve that language. They dissolved those tribes. They dissolved those monarchy and made France a united France, speaking one language, understanding each other. And with that, France was able to go out there and conquer the world. When the United States of America came together, the 13 colonies came together and they wanted to form the United States of America, there was multiple tribes. Spanish was one of the predominant languages spoken here in America. And they realized that this multitude of languages was actually a hindrance. This multitude of cultures was a hindrance to their own development. And so they said, guess what? What we crave and desire is more important. What we want to have is more important than these languages. What we crave and want is more important than these tribes and these villages. And so America was willing to dissolve those tribes, dissolve those villages, so that they can have a unity of purpose and be able to build these 13 colonies. And what we have today as the United States of America is as a result of these people coming together as one. Now you will speak English. When you come to America, you see it's easy for you to travel everywhere, speak, people understand you, articulate your perspective, integrate, and be able to experience true financial freedom. And this happened because these people had to realize what was the root cause of their problem, and they dealt with it ruthlessly and achieved the freedom that we do enjoy today. And I just want to say to us, if we want to achieve freedom in the Northwest, we have to be able to dissolve these groups, these tribal groups. If not, let's not bother coming together to solve any problem in the Northwest, because our root cause is our tribes. And as we move forward into this video, because I'm talking about this because I have so much love for our people. We are proud people. You see, Northwest is too centralized. The kind of level of education that you get in Bamenda, you can't get that in Cambe. You cannot get that in Bui. You cannot get that. And you ask, but why? Because of the centralized system, because of the tribes, because we are closed. And in order to break this, we need to be able to dissolve these tribes and all of these cultures that are hindrances to our own development, and be able to speak in one voice. And if we do that, we will not even need to divide from Cameroon to achieve freedom. We will not need to divide ourselves or separate from the entire nation in order to build a country. If we do separate ourselves from Cameroon, we are going to kill ourselves very fast. What is happening with our leaders in the diaspora right now is evident of what will happen if we do separate from French Cameroon. Just uniting with French Cameroon, guys, has preserved our lives. We would have been dead if we were not part of Cameroon. That is what we have seen so far. Like you heard the apostle said, this was something similar with our predecessors, with Foncha and the rest. They were not united. And that is where we are right now. If we are not still united, guess what will happen? In the next 100 years, we will still be where we are right now. Facts. Let's keep watching.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here. I never knew I could be here. I want to be grateful to Anya and her wonderful team for a great initiative for people who are virtually unknown. It's been a long time that I have been struggling for freedom, the right to social democracy, freedom of assembly, free speech, and the protection of human dignity. I've been to jail, I've been tortured, but I said to myself, paying a price for a greater goal is worth more than anything for me. But one of the greatest challenges I faced in my life was when I was dismissed from the university. You can never understand what it means, because for us Africans, education is more than the right to become part of one of the schisms that we all aspire to join. For us, it's about freedom. We live in a communitarian society where we are one, each other's keeper. So when you are expelled from the university, it is a challenge not only to you as an individual, it's a challenge to your family. It's like a betrayal of the trust invested in you to pursue knowledge for the betterment of your people, your village, and for your own self. I was not only dismissed, I was banned from attending any other university in the country. Then I lost my right to stay in the country. My friends were in prison. I was a student of chemistry, but I decided in 2007, 13 years after I lost my right to education, I never had any chance, no support. No mechanism was in place to give people like us an opportunity to start it all over again. I decided I was going to study human rights, to be able to contribute to the freedom of my friends who were in prison, and to be able to contribute to the process of the protection of human dignity all over the world.
So if you listen to Cho Ayaba, He is one of the leaders of the defense force for this movement. If you hear his speech, and which is why I talk a lot about us having perspective, listening to each other, not with judgmental mind, but just listening to what they are saying and trying to grasp what is the motivation and the intent of this individual. If you hear his story, if you experience what Cho Ayaba went through in his life, expelled from the university, struggling in Europe, getting to where he finds himself today, that I went to study human rights so I can advocate for other people who are struggling. That is a noble goal for anyone to pursue if you've gone through a similar experience. And I share his grievances. But one thing I want to do say is, these people have a genuine intention to help liberate the people of English-speaking Cameroon. But I want to say they started on a good foot, but where they do find themselves right now, we have to understand that it's time to change strategies. If you try for 7 years and you're not getting the intended results, it's time to debrief, evaluate, assess everything that you've done so far and ask a question. What is the way forward? And again, when you've had pain like this, it's important for you to understand that you need to heal, which is what I do a lot in counseling. When people have trouble, they have problems, they have past traumas, they've gone through all kind of traumatic experience, I help them heal as a clergy, because that's why therapy is out there, so that you get into a situation or a problem with a clear mind, understanding that the decisions that you're making, you're not being clouded by your experiences in that problem. That passion for what you've gone through is essential, but your judgment should not be clouded based on your experience. Because most of the people that I've heard or looked at or read or listened to in this struggle, some of them have grievances and pain. And if you are leading a people out of a situation like the one we find ourselves in, you cannot carry or harbor a pain from the past, because it's going to cloud your judgment and you might make a lot of mistakes, which is what I think most of the leaders have been reacting emotionally. This is not an emotional situation. And that is why you remember, if you read your Bible, you remember when God sent Moses to come take the children of Israel out of Egypt. One thing that God, you will realize in that story, is that God did not want this guy to be emotional. At some point, you realize that when God said, hey, go down and speak to the stone and water's going to come out, he went, picked a stick, hit the stone. Why? Because he was mad. Like, should I give you guys water? And what happened is the whole program was messed up. And God told Moses, you are not getting into the promised land because of this single act. That is what happened. Because this guy has been filled with anger for his whole life. He killed somebody very early in his life. That is what happened in the life of Moses. And yet God came, picked him up and said, yes, I will raise you to be a liberator, but you have to do it my way. And God led him back to Egypt, took him out of Egypt with the people, and yet he had not yet gotten rid of that anger and that pain and the bitterness that is had in his heart from inception, because he grew up seeing his people suffering. And so he was bitter and like, why should this be the case? I should do something about it. And I want to say to all our leaders, there is no way you can help the people of the Northwest if you yourself, you're not healed. A sick person cannot help another sick person. You have to be able to cleanse your heart from the pain that you've had in the past. Look at this problem objectively. And then you'll be able to have perspective and change strategies if it is necessary to bring about transformation and help these people get to their ultimate goal. Because it's like people are stuck on independence right now, and they don't even think that the goal is that these people should have jobs, they should have schools, they should have houses, they should be able to have opportunities. It's like we're stuck with independence like it is the goal. And the goal is these people should be free. And with that, you ask yourself the question, which other means can we use to get to this goal? I keep repeating this because it's very important that you understand the goal. The goal. The goal. Because you can actually get out of Cameroon and experience much pain living among English-speaking Cameroonians than you do living with French Cameroonians. I want to repeat that again. You can separate out of English-speaking Cameroonians and have more pain because our predecessors, Foncha, Ndele, all those guys were not united. And so it led us to where we are. And so separating might lead us into a even bigger problem than the one we find ourselves in. We might be having bloodshed, people dying at a massive rate every day. I want you as a leader to think about this. Think about this. And that is why I'm looking at this problem objectively. I'm not emotional about this. I'm not attached in any way about it because I know of people that have been hurt. I have relatives that have been hurt. But the thing is, I got to detach myself out of the problem to be able to see it, to solve it. Without which, we are going nowhere. Again, I've highlighted tribalism because that is a theme that we've realized that is elevated right now within the struggle. Tribes are dangerous. We should be having tribes based on ideologies, based on concepts and businesses and companies that you want to establish. You create a tribe that this is what we want to build. We want to erect this building. When you have that kind of tribe, it is a good thing. But when you have tribe because of a common language, because of common culture, it is detrimental to national development. Tribes are dangerous to national development. France proved that. America, the United States of America, proved that. They had cultures like us. They had traditions like us. They had monarchs like us. You remember, even right now, you still hear we hear about the Queen of England, the King of England. They had tribes like us, and they had to demolish those tribes to achieve national unity and foster development. That is very important. That is our graveyard. That is our hindrance. I'll give my final verdict on what I think about the Amber Boys, because you might be asking yourself the question, should all the Amber Boys surrender? And what should happen? I'll say something about that at the end of this video. So just keep watching.
And I'm out for the international community about us. When these things happen, the international community not the same like saying Ayaba Duan. You know the same saying ADF Duan. They call them say Ambazonia fighters. And yet the overwhelming majority of Ambazonian fighters out there, they don't do this. Only the ADF has the pedigree, they have the history of doing this. And this is about the third or the fourth time inside Batibo, inside Guzan. I don't know what Batibo people did to Ayaba. I don't know what they did to him. That again and again and again and again, he picks one clan, he picks one people, and he kills them again and again and again. Comrades, again, we must all condemn. We must all condemn these acts. We must all condemn these acts. I said yesterday...
You realize, like I said, the aspect of tribalism. Like, what did this people of this tribe do to you? Are you guys seeing the theme of tribalism emerging within the struggle? And this is a very crucial factor as to why there is division within the leaders of this struggle and why they can't achieve development. Because when there is unity of purpose, there is nothing that can stop you. If you see the story of the Tower of Babel, if you believe in the Bible, you don't, the story is evident. These people came together and they were building a long tower to go meet God. They could speak one language, they understood each other, and so nothing could stop their development. Now, their intent of building that tower was to challenge God, was to prove to God that they can. God, realizing this, said, what are you guys up to? When God came down, the first thing he did was make sure that the people start speaking multiple languages. That is, when they speak, they could not understand each other. When they speak, they had all of these tribes now emerging within them, and they're like, okay, somebody says, give me a stone, and somebody heard, give me water. And so there was confusion within that camp, and so guess what? They were not able to build that tower unanimously, and so God made that because the people wanted to challenge him. And I want to ask the question to English-speaking Cameroonians. Could your languages and your tribes be a contributing factor to your own detriment? Can it be a contributing factor to your own demise? A contributing factor to the impediment that we are experiencing? And so what are you willing to do? Because in every liberation, there is a trade-off. In every development, there is a trade-off. If we want to carve a road that will take us from Bamenda to Bali, there it must be some sacrifices. Somebody has to lose their house on that road to get to Bali. Somebody will lose a piece of land on the way to Bali for that road to be constructed. And I'm asking us a question. Now that we've identified the real problem, that our tribes is the main issue that is eating us up. The Southwest is decentralized. We are centralized. And you ask, but why? What is the issue? Are you willing to give it up? Are you willing to give up the tribes for a united Northwest so that we can have development and growth within our region? Part 2 of this video, I'm going to talk about how we can achieve development in Northwest. But for right now, I want us to deal with the geopolitical struggles that we are dealing with, the geopolitical setbacks, the geopolitical pain that we are dealing with, the weaknesses that we are dealing with within Northwest. And I just want to say, the real issue that we are dealing with that is hindering sustainable development in Northwest is tribes. It's tribes. We must be willing to let go of something. If poverty is associated with your tribe and getting rich is more important for you than poverty, then you must be willing to let go of the tribes to achieve this, so that people can come into your land and be able to develop your land, show you better ways to cultivate crops, explore the land together with you. What minerals and resources we have in Northwest that we haven't even tapped into, and we think all we have is the oil in the Southwest. What resources do we have in Northwest that we haven't even tapped into because we have this closed mind, this closed territories, this closed way of living that is hindering our own development? And we think somehow, let me ask you a question. If we get all the resources and we have to start coming with them we get money from these resources, we have to start developing Northwest. Where do you think we will start? There's a big problem, right? You say my village. These tribes are very, very detrimental for development, as history has proven to us. So this is not coming out of just my shared thinking, but just me looking at things, but looking at history and then listening to these leaders, I can deduce out of their words that this is the real issue. And failing to identify and solve these problems will lead us to this loop that we find ourselves in, right? We'll find ourselves in this loop and thinking maybe. So what I'm saying is, like, guys, there are always external factors and there are internal factors in any problem, in any situation. In your life right now, you have internal factors and you have external factors. External factors might be relatives, might be friends, might be the bank or whatever. Internal factors is you. What is stopping you from doing what you think you should be doing to get everything that you want to get out of your life right now? Sometimes we might try to control the people around us, not understanding that these are all external factors. If I can control myself, what I do have control over, then nothing out here can be able to control me if I have control of myself. So there are internal and there are external factors. Internal factors is Northwest. Internal factors is Southwest. Internal factors, English-speaking Cameroon. External factors, French-speaking Cameroon. Now, we have the power to an extent to control everything within Northwest if we want to. And we've proven that. And nobody's stopping you. But you don't have the power to control everything that is going on in French Cameroon. External factors. You have the power to control. Have you utilized every resource and every strategy that you can within the Northwest, and we don't experience growth. Because the bottom line of what we are struggling with right now is that we have people living in abject poverty. That is the bottom line. It's not just separation. No, it's the bottom line is poverty. The bottom line is lack of jobs. The bottom line is people are living at the minimum wage. It's bad. The situation is horrible. That is the bottom line. We don't have enough resources. We don't have enough schools. We don't have enough money. We don't have that economic power that we desire. That is the bottom line in Northwest. Do we all agree? Of course we do. You probably want to have your own house, young man watching me, young woman. You want to have your own house. You want to have your own school. You want to have your own house. You want to have your own car. You want to have a wife. You want to have children. You want to be able to raise them. You want a good job. You want money to go have fun. And all of those things are the bottom line. And if we prioritize our focus on the bottom line, and then we will start looking at the factors that are affecting us from achieving our bottom line, instead of looking at external factors, whereas there are critical internal factors that are very, very crucial to our own development, and yet we are not paying attention to those internal factors. Because this is what changed for me in my personal life. I realized I cannot control my father. I cannot control my mother. I cannot control my cousins. I cannot control my aunties. But one thing I do have control over is me. And once I took control over me, everything else aligned. Let's focus on the internal factors. Once you do, you won't even recognize anything outside affecting you. Let's keep watching.
Your blows are crushing the face of divine, the person you are defending. Should you not, Dr. Ayabacho, reconsider the fighting principle? I'm saying this because the feedback I got from home largely talk of pain that your fighters set to be liberating people are instead inflicting on the population. Is it time to reconsider your strategy, sir?
We always reconsider our strategy based on what the population is saying. What do you think? You see, when I was a student in the University of Boya, and I was fighting against the increase of fees, and the thugs, the LRC thugs, brought in soldiers from Manao Bay. Most students simply just wanted peace. They just wanted to be left alone in their negative peace. In liberation wars, you understand that there would be pain there will be pain imposed. And I always remind our people that this thing is not going to be easy. The worst days are still ahead. Okay? And in times like the moment, we do what we can do. We adapt our strategies to make sure that we can alleviate somehow the pain of our people. But the pain the people are facing is not caused by the Ambazonian forces. It's caused by the enemy. There is no village we have burnt. We don't have 4,000 of our own people in jails. We don't murder them, decapitate them. So in research, you have to isolate the indicator. It is possible. Do you think people can simply just openly blame La République du Cameroon for the pain they are feeling? Because there are consequences. What our people are communicating is different from what you are communicating. And that is why when I adapt our strategy, especially when we put the liberation tax, we said when we increase our funding and we increase our armament, we give our forces the opportunity to defend our people. We provide public services in terms of education and public health to at least get our people to begin to enjoy what we've been promising them.
Here are some of the things that people send to me, the experiences that they are having. Listen to this, sir.
Why do you, Ayabacho, and your Alabukam-based ADF boys decided to block the road going to Mbengi and making things unnecessarily difficult for a meta man? where did we go wrong so long as this struggle is concerned? Is that how we are going to fight our enemy, by blocking the road and circulation of people and their properties within 2 towns? Where did we get wrong, Mr. Ayabacho? Please.
How do you respond to that person?
I don't respond to tribal questions.
Wow. That is quite interesting. And so you see that the issue of tribalism is very well highlighted throughout this video. And so that is why I lay emphasis on that. And I want to say, right now, you might be wondering, like, where are we going with this conversation? I want to say, victimhood is a $1 trillion industry. That is just being a victim. That the reason why I am what I am today is because of ABC. Is a $1 trillion industry here in America. But one thing I want to say to the people of Northwest and Southwest is that today, starting with Northwest, for me, which is where I grew up and I was born, we decide to be rich. Northwest, we decide to be rich. We are going to do it with shared determination and hard work and strategies. We decide to be rich. I'm going to unpack these steps in the next video. But one thing I want to let us know is we are not going to perish. We are not going to blame. We will take responsibility for everything that happens to us. Not saying that we caused it, but saying that we have the power to change it. That is where true power comes. Because if I say someone else is the reason for why I'm where I am, that is, I'm saying they have power enough to make me be in a condition that I don't want to be in. That is self-defeating. And that is why when Joseph came around, the brothers, after they sold him as a slave, they came around and they said, hey, we're sorry, we treated you bad. He said, you don't have to do that. What you intended for evil, God turned it around for good. And that is the perspective that I want every child, every woman, every man, every mother, every father from the Northwest and Southwest to say, we will not blame anyone for where we find ourselves. We will develop our economies. There are resources that we haven't even tapped into. I mean, I'm talking about ways and strategies that we can be able to mine and cultivate our own soil and come out with resources and products that we will not only consume and free ourselves from poverty, we'll be able to ship them to other countries, ship them to other nations, and make exponential money out of that. Beginning with agriculture. There are numerous places around Northwest that are doing so well with corn. And we can create an industrial system just to farm corn. We can improve our electricity system. We can improve water and have enormous water. We can do irrigation and make sure that our crops never run dry, and we are able to cultivate corn at least 3 or 4 times a year. Not just in the farming season, but we have farms that are producing corn 3 times or 4 times a year. We have systems that can dry up these corns, put them in bags, and be able to have food or ship them and sell them across the entire Northwest. But you know what is going to stop us? If I find that there's a fertile soil in Bambui that we can actually create this kind of plantation and farm corn, we might have a hindrance because we don't come from that tribe. And that is why I emphasize and insist on us breaking all these tribal barriers, all these tribal blockades that we have that is hindering our own development. That France, America were able to bring down and be able to prioritize development over tribes, prioritize development over monarchy. And that is why we see them today. We want to travel to their country. They were willing to make that sacrifice. And my question to you is, do you prefer your tribe over food on your table? Do you prefer your tribe over your economy? Do you prefer a tribe over you owning your own house? Do you prefer your tribe over you being able to have money in your bank account? Do you prefer a tribe over you being prosperous? That is a question that every child, every son and daughter from the English-speaking part of Cameroon have to rise up and answer. Choose today. But today, we choose to be rich. And as for the Amber Boys, I don't think that the Amber Boys should just drop their weapons. But I think that the Amber Boys should change their strategies. This time around, you are not going to be fighting against the military. The military should become your friend. You will partner with the military. I remember growing up, we used to have anti-gangs. There was the military, but there was anti-gangs. The anti-gangs, their job was to make sure that someone who is coming to do evil in our community doesn't get in. So they are always at the entrance of roads, and they will stop you and check you out to make sure that you're clean before you get in. We had anti-gangs, even though there was military. And most of the times, the anti-gangs, they are going to intervene before the military comes. I don't think that the Amber Boys should just drop their weapons. I think the Amber Boys should become our own Amber police within the Northwest and the Southwest. And this is the responsibility of the Amber. Your job is not to fight the latter public. They are not your real problem. Our real problem is division among us. Our real problem is tribalism, is nepotism that is hindering our own development. We have not tapped 1/3 of the resources that we even have in Northwest because we have not even taken the effort to go and develop and find what we have underneath our soil. The job of the Amber Boys will be to stop anyone who tries to hinder development. If there is a piece of land that we need to construct a road, a farm to market road, and you feel like because that land is your land, and so if we're paving a road, it's going to interrupt your land, and so you don't want that, the Amber Boys are going to solve that problem and bring that person to order. And if they don't want to succumb to the development of the entire Northwest, then that land will be seized for the purpose of development. And then we will keep cultivating and developing that land for the goal of the entire nation. Because why? We prioritize Northwest over tribes. We prioritize Bamenda Abakwa. We prioritize Northwest over tribes. So with that, if there is any hindrance on the way for us developing and producing crops that we know we can develop our continent, our nation, our Northwest and Southwest with, and so someone thinks that they will prioritize their tribe over that, the Amber Boys are going to call them to order. Number 2, if we realize that someone is selling a land to someone that is coming from another tribe higher than someone that comes from their tribe, then we are going to have the Amber Boys get in there and put that situation to order. And if the individual don't want to succumb to what the justice system that we've set in place looks like, that land should be confiscated. Why should you sell land expensive to someone else within Northwest, expensive than someone because they don't come from your village? That is all nepotism. And we are able to get in and realize that this problem was wrong. What you did was wrong. You shouldn't have handled this problem this way. You shouldn't have tried to practice tribalism because this person is not from your tribe. And so you want to say hi for them. All of that, we are going to use the Amber Boys to address those problems. Anyone who is anti-development, those are the kind of people that we will use the Amber Boys to solve those problems. And as we do that, we will realize simultaneously that Northwest will be more united. We'll be able to tap into the resources, cultivate our own crops, embark on agriculture, electricity, water, and roads. If we prioritize these 4 things, within the next 5 years and get rid of tribalism, Northwest will become a flourishing place that people would like to visit and be able to live and experience the abundance that is coming out of our land. I repeat, if we prioritize agriculture, the development of agriculture, electricity, when I'm talking about agriculture, we can focus just on corn. Corn is amazing. There are many things that is being produced out of corn alone. And yet there are fertile places within the Northwest that if we start investing into machines, agricultural machines, people don't need to be cultivating crops in this 21st century with holes. We need machines that can till the soil, machines that will plant the corn, machines that will weave the corn, machines that will harvest the corn, and machines that are going to package the corn, and we can be able to have food in Northwest so that we will not die. It is that basic. We start with agriculture. We prioritize agriculture. We are going to use science and technology in that system to make sure that we farm our crops and be able to be prosperous, just farming. Number 2, we are going to make sure that we have good water. People should not be dying of cholera and all sorts of diseases. We will be able to solve that by providing clean drinking water for every citizen of the Northwest region. Number 3, electricity. Everyone should be able to have electricity, and we are going to look for a way to provide electricity to our citizens. And anyone that stands in our way, the amber will be used for that objective. You go there, you bring all that to that situation. If the land is a land that someone is fighting and they don't want to give up the land, they don't want to sell the land, or they're discriminating on the land, we're going to confiscate that land and we are going to say this land belongs to Northwest and it will be cultivated, and whatever crops grows out of that land, it will be sold and donated for the development, for electricity, for water and development of Northwest. That is the strategy. And for the roads that we will construct, farm to market roads, remember that. And only this alone. Because we're going to be barns. We're going to be barns where when we harvest this crop, they will be stored in barns. And from there, we'll be able to process them, package them, and start distributing them across or marketing them across the world and within our own nation. That strategy will transform the entire Northwest within 5 years. We will build schools out of this. We will build banks out of this. We are going to have money circulating in our economy out of this. What you guys really want is not to be in poverty. Someone can say, oh, the reason is our land, they came to our land. What it simply means is, so they came to your land, so they took resources, and so you're broke because you don't have these resources. You don't have the money coming out of these resources, and that is why you're broke. That is the whole premise. And so if I am able to kick out this person, I'll get hold of my resources, I'll market it, I'll have the money, and I'll do what I need to do to bring development. So there are many strategies, and I just want to let you guys know, I'll unpack this in the next video. But if you look at America today, after they had all of these 13 colonies in the United States of America that we now know it, prosperity didn't come. The government came in, they tried every means possible to develop the economy, to develop America. It wasn't working. People like Alexander Hamilton, you've never heard about his names. You only hear about the top guys out there. Alexander Hamilton was an immigrant that came into America and propose the free market system, that this is how we can set up an economy that works. You probably never heard of Milton Friedman. Milton Friedman, those are people that look at inflation and came up with strategies on how to eradicate poverty. And they said free enterprise was the strategy. Free enterprise is the strategy. Nothing changes an economy like free enterprise. Resources are good, but they'll just make people lazy, and then they put them in kind of a welfare system, and at the end of the dependency system, and people are not really productive. There's a lot in people from Bamenda and Southwest. You guys have a lot of talent, potential, energy in you. We need to utilize that, transform our economy, and let the young people growing up look at things that we've done and say, wow, our parents came here, they saw it, they challenged it, and they brought this new status quo that we see today. And I want to let you guys know, if we focus on agriculture, getting electricity and water, and roads, farm to market roads, these 4 things will transform the entire economy of Northwest within a very short period of time, and nothing else. We prioritize this. Yes, you can do every other thing that you want, but these are our big 4. This is the big 4 that we prioritize right now. I love you guys so much. I hope this session has been inspiring. I hope you got some value out of this. I hope you feel touched in your heart to take action. And if you do feel like you want to start taking action with me right now, I want to get some of the contacts of everyone that wants to see this change happen, including the Amber Boys, including the military, anyone that feels like they are for Northwest, they are for Southwest, they want to see change and development in English-speaking Cameroon. The number is right there on the screen. DM me. Let's start taking action right now. You've heard the Reverend said it. You've heard those people say, we are the people to save ourselves. We are the people we have been waiting for. No one else is coming to help us. Not the diaspora, not the West, not someone that has achieved some degrees or PhDs. We are the people to save ourselves. Whatever action that has been taking place on the ground zero as they call it, has been done by you guys. Not somebody in the diaspora. You did that. And I'm saying you can think differently right now and take a different action and get a different result. Because why? If you keep going with your programming, remember what I said in the beginning? When you have an operating system that is working in your brain, you can never work opposite to that operating system. You can never act in antithesis to that operating system. But now, you remember when we used to have like the Pentium 4 computers? And every time we realize that if the computer gets corrupt, we go buy an operating system and then we come and we format the computer and then we plug in a new operating system and then the computer starts running smoothly. What we need right now is to get a new operating system in our brain and realize the things I've outlined, that the tribalism thing need to go, and all of these languages that are confusing us need to go. We need to find out what is it we really want and prioritize that. And any other thing that is a distraction, we take it, we leave it aside. We take it aside. I know this is a concept that is strange to us, but I want us to understand that in order for us to move forward, we need a new operating system. And it starts by looking at what has worked for other countries that we desire to go to. We like their system. We enjoy it. And it will work for us too. I love you guys so much. And until next time, stay blessed. All right. If you like this video, you're going to like this other episode. And you can watch it by clicking right here.